Terry. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good to see you again.
Thanks. Good to see you too.
So in the last session, we mentioned creating and submitting your resume to some of the places that you found on Indeed.com. I know you mentioned that you're really interested in the Sprecher Brewery company.
Yeah.
Did you submit your application and your resume to that one?
Yeah, I found it on Indeed.com, one of the resources you gave me the first time we met. And I, after last time, I made a resume and then I submitted it. And I actually got a call back.
Oh, okay.
So I have an interview scheduled for Friday at the end of the week this week. So I'm very excited. I'm very nervous. So, I mean, it's very good. I'm very happy. But I'm really nervous about the interview. I really would like this job.
So I kind of want to go back to how did the process of creating and submitting your resume go? Did you have trouble with that? Did you ask the librarian for help?
I had to ask once for the formatting of it because I just needed help organizing it. Because I know we talked about all of that stuff, but I didn't have you guys there. But she was able to help me, and once I got it organized, she offered to review it for me, so she was able to do that, which was absolutely wonderful. And I submitted it right away and had my fingers crossed the whole time. So it was really nerve-wracking, but it felt good to be able to actually offer that to a company that is hiring rather than just making a phone call. I felt really professional about myself doing that.
And so the interview is for the customer service position then?
Yeah, it's customer service, and basically the description said that I would be like a front desk person, so I keep thinking back to like receptionist, which is great because that's what I wanted initially. So
okay, and then so those are some of the responsibilities you mentioned, right? And then so you said you feel nervous for the interview process.
Yeah.
So we could go over some interviewing tips and some skills that you might be able to use, just so you could feel less nervous. I mean, you're still going to feel nervous because you haven't had that many interviews.
Right.
But it's good to at least prepare yourself a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be really nice. Thank you.
So to begin with, it'll be very helpful for you to know some information about the company. Okay. I know you already, you read the job description on Indeed.com, but it doesn't mention everything on there.
Okay.
So, this will help you answer questions, and it will also help you stand out from other people that they're interviewing. So it would be good to know their mission statement, or like their distribution, or stuff like that, and how their scheduling works.
So that's like if I go to their website, maybe.
Yeah, you can go to the website. I know you're probably tired of going to the library for
I gotta do what I gotta do. Yeah.
So you could just go to the library, Google their website, Google the Sprecher Brewery, write down some notes about it, and you could probably take them with you or memorize them, or memorize like key points, and then you could ask the interviewer questions, or if they ask you something, you'll know right away.
Okay. I didn't know that I could ask interviewers questions.
Well, you could, but you could try to keep it minimal. Don't because you're not interviewing them.
Right.
They're interviewing you.
Okay. Cool. The mission statement, you said?
Yes. Their mission statements and their goals, and what exactly do they do there, not just what your position will do.
Okay.
Another one could be, comparing your skills and qualifications to the job requirements. So how would you compare one of your skills to the job requirement?
If I'm gonna be at the front desk, I'll be the first thing that they see when they walk in, right?
Yes.
Usually. So I think that my organization skills can come into play because I'll have to have my desk look nice, and I'll have to be presentable to the customers or whatever that are coming in. And if one of the responsibilities in the description was like scheduling and keeping track of like billing and their deliveries and stuff. So my multitasking and my time management would have to be in play too, because if I'm doing all of those things on a daily basis, I'm gonna need to know how to balance them and prioritize them. So
That's a good answer.
thank you, thank you. That feels really nice. Thank you.
So if he asks you, that could be a question that he could possibly ask you at the interview. You could just try to answer something like that.
Oh,
That's
thanks.
good. So like I said, you can prepare your responses. That could be a response that you can say. Just try not to be so so nervous. Kind of just relax and you'll be fine. So how do you feel about your attire? Do you think you have professional? It doesn't have to be professional attire, but do you think you have interview attire? Appropriate attire for an interview.
That depends. I guess I won't know what their dress code is until I go to the interview.
Yeah.
Unless I were to call and ask somebody. But probably I have some dress pants and nice flat shoes.
Oh, that's good. Okay, yeah.
And stuff. Would that work?
Yeah, I think dress
just
up
a nice blouse.
Yeah.
No t-shirts or ratty jeans or anything like that. So yeah, I should have some of that, and if not, I can always go to maybe thrift shop or a used store or maybe even Walmart. I could probably pick something up. I didn't even think of what kind of clothes I'd be wearing.
A good store to go to would probably be Clothes Mentor, because it's resale clothes, but it's professional attire. You can find something there and something affordable, because your financial situation isn't that good. So, you could probably go there too.
Because a lot of times with the resale shops, they only have so much and it's all donated stuff. So, but if it has a lot of professional clothing, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, it is recommended too that you don't wear neon colors, pop-up colors. You could wear colors, but more warm colors.
Keep it subtle.
Yes. You don't want to seem
bam.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
So besides your attire, you can plan what to bring to the interview.
What do you mean?
So you can bring your resume, references. We talked about making a reference list.
Yeah.
In the last session.
Yeah, I'm still working on that. I'm making a lot of progress.
That's good.
So
I think you could mention that to the person that's interviewing you. I don't have that many references, but because I haven't had that many jobs, and you said that I told you that it couldn't be family. So
right.
You could mention that to him, not that what I told you, but that you don't have that many references because you have limited jobs. That you've had limited jobs.
Yeah, I don't have a really expansive history,
So maybe.
But the ones I have, I think, are really good. They're really solid. So.
Yeah, that would be good. Bring in your resume, bring in your references. You could also bring in a notepad and a pen. So you could take notes and some information. In case he wants you to submit a second part to the application. So it'd be good to bring in your ID as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
okay, I understand. Yeah.
And then just a notepad and pen to take notes on what certain things that the interviewer says.
That seems like a good idea. I don't feel like I've never heard of that before either. But that sounds like it would be really helpful in my case.
Yeah.
Just to, like you said, researching it, just to know about the company, and then if I take notes in the interview, that's even more of me showing them that I care enough.
Yeah, that you're really interested in. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So when you get there, it is good. You'll be in the waiting room. You could, some interviewers do start seeing the person as soon as they walk in, when they're waiting in the lobby to be brought into the interview.
Okay.
It would be recommended for you to, don't be on your phone, don't be fidgeting so much, because they do pay attention to that. If you're on your phone, they'll probably think, oh, this person's not that interested. They care more about their phone instead of paying attention to what's going on around them. It could also be helpful for you, when you're doing the interview, pay attention to his nonverbal communication. So if let's say you're talking a lot, and then he goes something like this, you probably see oh, this person's not interested in me. And they'll also pay attention to your nonverbal communication. So, don't try to roll
Don't
your
look
eyes.
bored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Okay.
Okay. And then once the interview is over, the notes you took down on your notepad, you could ask questions, follow-up questions. So I guess that would be a good time for you to ask questions, instead of the beginning.
Mhm.
You that probably like towards the end.
Yeah.
That way, he has shared all the information with you, and then if you with your notepad, a question happens to pop up, just write it down.
Okay.
So
That's a good idea.
yeah.
Because I've had that before where they're like, oh, do you have any questions? And it's always like, no, I think I'm okay. But if I have the notepad to take notes, then that'd be really helpful.
And don't ask questions like, well, how much am I gonna get paid? Like what are my benefits here? Because you don't want to seem like too head on. Like a person, I feel like they'll probably be more interested in you if you ask questions about the company.
So instead of like being all about the money, I want to be a part of like the company, like be a part of the team.
Yes,
And
kind of
then-
showing that you care about the company.
Okay.
Okay, so what do you think would be like a good question to ask?
I think I would like to know how long all the other employees have been employees there, because I think it would be helpful to know if they have like a high turnover rate, so if they're hiring and firing a lot,
Yeah.
And that way if I have any other questions, if I do get the job, then I know that the people I'm working with are knowledgeable as well, and I know that they'd be able to help me learn and help me train. So I'd want to know what their turnover rate is, if they have their employees for extensive amount of times, or if their employees are generally come and go.
That would be a good question. Good job.
Thank you.
Okay.
Getting excited.
Okay. So some tips would be, just going back to what we went over, like kind of like the outline. Some good tips would be, listen to what he is saying, because he probably will ask you questions. So, just listen to what he is saying. Don't try to memorize everything, but look out for like key points.
Okay.
So don't try to talk too much either. It could be distracting towards them too, because you're not there to make a friend. It's like you're there to get a job.
Business.
Yes, just business.
Okay.
So, don't use appropriate language. Use appropriate language. You don't want to talk to him like you would talk to like your kids.
Right.
And then don't be arrogant. Obviously you're not. I don't think you are.
Thank you.
But you don't want to seem like you are going in there because
Thinking I'm all that.
yes, like you already know what you're doing.
So stay humble.
Yes. And then don't appear desperate either.
I don't really know what you mean by
Like,
desperate, because I really do need this job, and if there's, if the interview goes well, that would be wonderful. But if I sense it's not going so well, I don't know how I would not come off as desperate if I really need the job, because I don't want to sound like I'm pleading, like please hire me, but I really do need this job.
yeah. So maybe if he asks like, what would be a good reason to hire you? What do you think you would say to that question?
I think I could point out my skills and how well they contribute to what I'd be doing at the job, and talk about how I'm qualified for the position.
Yeah, that would be good. You won't say, well, I really need this job because I'm having financial problems. I really want to provide for my children. That would kind of be going off as desperate. But what you said is good, because you're relating it to yourself. You're mentioning it to him, your skills and how they would benefit the company. So that wouldn't be looking desperate. So that's a good. See, you did a good job. Hold on, let me see.
Okay.
So how do you think have these skills, these tips, helped you? Do you feel less nervous now for your interview?
Yeah, because I didn't really know what to expect, because it's been a while since I've been in the interview spot, but knowing and breaking it down with you piece by piece like that, kind of like, it relaxed me a little bit and helped me see it piece by piece rather than seeing it as one big scary experience.
Yeah.
and now I have, you know, a couple of things to think about when I go home and say, okay, so to make sure I have a notepad in my purse and to make sure that I'm, you know, acting professional and looking professional and seeming interested in the company. And by seeming interested, I get, you know, researching the mission and seeing what their purpose is and what they do as a company, and rather than just focusing on the position I'm applying for.
Yeah.
So I feel like I have a lot of things to back up my confidence when I go in there. So yeah, those are definitely very, very helpful for me.
Do you have any more questions or concerns that you may have?
So my appointment is set for 2:00, and I don't live very far. So, but do you think I should get there a little earlier, or do you think I should, like, you know, come right on time? Obviously, I don't want to be late,
Yeah.
but I don't want to seem too eager in getting there too early, and then be like, oh, well, our interview isn't until 2, and I'd be there, you know, too early.
Yeah.
So how do you think that there's like an appropriate time to show up?
I would recommend at least showing up 10 minutes before the interview, just because, you know, it would show that, you know, you care about time, you know, your time management skills. That would show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what I was worrying about. Yeah, I just couldn't put the name on it because I'm really good at time management. I just wanted to know what an appropriate time would be.
And it would be good for you to show up early instead of leaving like, okay, well, I live 20 minutes away from my house. If I leave at 1:40, I'll get there at 2 p.m. You know, because if you show up at least 10 minutes ahead of time, it'll give you some time to like prepare yourself, relax, you know, calm your nerves a little.
Okay.
So it would be good to leave
Thank
a
you.
little bit earlier.
Yeah, because I was a little shaky and I was debating on what way I should go with it. So.
Okay. Any more questions?
I can't think of any at the moment. I am really excited. I do appreciate you sharing that list with me because I never would have known.
Yeah.
But I don't think I have any other questions. I think I'm ready for the interview.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm ready.
In your next section, we will follow up and talk about how your interview went.
Okay.
And then, you know, you could just mention, like, this is how it went, this is what went wrong, this is what I was nervous about. So that's what we will talk about in our next session.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Nope. I will be looking forward to talking to you. I hope it goes right. I hope I can bring you some good news. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well, thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.